Well, welcome back to another episode of The Road to 2200. Looks like my opponent is 1971. I'm 1949. What has happened? We got a collapse here. Alright, so we're playing pretty standard Queen's Gambit decline line, it looks like. Yep. Okay, we'll play e6. And now we're just in the QGD. I assume I'm going to do my normal stuff, and depending on where this bishop goes. Seems like most people put it on g5. Some put it on f4. That changes things quite a bit. Again, important to remember, you can't just, blindly make your moves. You got to actually pay attention to what your opponent is doing. And this is very interesting because now the bishop can't come out at all. And I don't really know what that means for me. I think I still want to just develop to e7. I could have maybe gone to d6. Because part of the reason to go to e7 is to combat that pin. And now that they've moved this bishop, probably makes sense to take here. Now they have to move again, lose a tempo. And now I can castle. They'll probably castle. And I think, okay, they don't have a rush to castle, so that's fine. Are they looking to push here, I guess is the question. I don't see what that does for them. I would normally do this. I'm thinking about going here. No, actually, here to fianchetto. So like b6, bishop b7. I think that's what I want to do. And we'll go like this. And then we'll play c5. We can actually play c5 now. I don't need the knight here. So maybe in this line I'll end up with the knight on c6. I'm not entirely sure. Again, it depends on what my opponent does. My opponent actually gets to make moves, which is unfortunate. Let's go ahead and fianchetto the bishop. This just looks like a very nice diagonal. Yeah. And this bishop looks like my bishop looks way better than their bishop. Their bishop is blunted by this pawn. I guess the question is, after I play c5, can they just push this pawn? It looks like they can't, right? I'm defending it 4 times, so I would win the pawn. So I think I just want to push here. And then if they do nothing, I think I can take. They take with the knight, and that seems like a pretty good position for me. I've gotten rid of this pawn that could potentially be a target on the half-open file eventually. Probably going to put my knight here on c5. It's a question of, if they don't take, it might be best for me not to take. Right? If they just leave this, maybe it's best for me to just put my knight here. I guess the question is, if I do that and they push, I have less defenders. So then it's like takes, 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 and then I actually lose a pawn. So I can't actually put the knight on c6 yet. I would have to figure out something else first. Okay. So I think what I want to do, is just take. The knight will take. My queen can go to c7. The knight can go to c6. And then I feel like I'm doing pretty well here. Yeah, we can go here. Yes, it brings the knight in, and that's less than ideal, but I think it's fine. And I think I want to go here first. The problem with going here first is the knights are then attacking. So maybe I play this knight here first. And if they take, that's fine. I come back. And if they put the rook here, maybe I have to put the queen on c8, which is less than ideal for sure. Okay, of course I'm getting important texts in the middle of my game. This is why I love playing over the board. No one can text me. Okay, so my opponent's trying to figure out what to do. This feels pretty straightforward to me. Just bring the rook over. That seems like a very strange move. I think now what I want to do is go here so that when they bring the rook over, not if they bring the rook over, I go here. And if we look at these pieces, this bishop's terrible and this bishop is terrible. Our bishop is great and this bishop is not bad. So it looks to me like we have a pretty big edge from that perspective. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go here, keep the knight out, queen over. I'm fine trading the rooks off. His rooks won't even be connected yet. Okay. So giving the bishop an escape. I don't even know if I need to play b5. Also looking at this bishop is entirely uncontested here. There's some way to take advantage of that. I don't think there is, but it feels like we're very close to having an attack. And maybe going here. I guess they could... No, they can't go here. Yeah, I think I like this. Just come here. I mean, we've got a lot of pressure. Even if we don't do anything with it yet, we're starting to pressure. And I have b5. I thought they might play a4. But by playing a3, they basically said they're not playing a4. They're going to let me play b5 whenever I want. And that seems great. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so now they can finally connect the rooks. But their approach seems so slow. It just feels like I should be able to take advantage of it. And maybe I can. So let's check this out. If I play knight e5, I'm hitting their bishop. They have to protect it somehow. They have a lot of ways. And one way is not moving this knight, by the way, because then this would hang being attacked twice. And then the thought is, what if I go queen c6? I'm threatening mate. They could protect it this way. And maybe that's good enough. Maybe just like, well, I could go here. They could also protect it this way, which would be weakening their structure a bit. The other possibility is to go like put the rook on the open file. I think I like this idea. Let's make sure this works. I'm not saying I'm going to get anything great from it, but I just like the idea of putting my piece here. Maybe I even have some sort of sack there. But if I go here, do they have something that I'm missing? I don't think so. I think I can just move here. It's defended still by the queen, so they don't have any cool double attacks on it. When this bishop moves back, I could do something like rook on the open file and even land the knight here if I want. I don't know. It just feels like stuff is brewing. Ooh, there's also ideas like this. Knight g4 takes, knight g4, threatening mate. Maybe they go there, then I go here. That's a very all-in idea. And I would have to really make sure that worked. Okay, this is backing it up now. I'm a little tempted to go here and just put more pressure on this queen. I'm a little worried they'll put the rook there, though, and then move. Okay, let's say I just move the queen up. I don't see a good way for them to stop that. I just don't. I mean, it's not going to be mate or anything, but it's going to induce weaknesses. Like if I go here and they push this pawn, taking with check, probably doesn't do anything. But it's looking reasonable. Maybe I'm going something like this. Or this idea. Let's see. Here, what am I threatening though if they don't take? I'm threatening mate. So they just bring the knight in. And say I'm not going in for your shenanigans. I don't really get anything. I think at least putting the queen here does some things for me. One downside, I guess, is once they fix the mate threat, this knight move is annoying. I'm wondering also if I have ideas like this. Rook d8, which is just a good move. Bishop onto this diagonal, which is not a bad idea. Bishop comes back to b8, and then shuttle the queen back to here. So it's like there's this revolving door of problems they're having to deal with. So if I go here and the knight comes in, then what? Then that plan is kind of out the window. Maybe that's okay. I mean, the knight from here is not doing that much. So this doesn't work because they have this. I mean, in fact, they probably just take the rook anyway. All right, I think we're just going to say we made a weakness, and we're pretty happy with that. The weakness being this diagonal. I mean, I can just drop my bishop on this diagonal if I want, put pressure. It's just they're under a lot of pressure, and their pieces are all bad. This is a really strong move for them, and it's unfortunate I couldn't find a way to sort of prevent it in its entirety. It's not a really strong move, but it comes with tempo. It forces my queen away. It cuts me off from attacking this bishop. It does quite a bit. Okay, so they went that route instead. So if they move the knight, there's going to be a trade here. I just realized, like, if this is hanging, is that useful? Oh, I also have this now. That do anything? It looks really spicy. I don't know if it does anything. It's like, okay, they move the rook. Now what? What do I even do? Maybe I go here then. And now I'm pressuring the queen side. I've got a lot of options here. I could also just try to double here, but I feel like the knight coming here is strong. And another thing about moving the knight here is after the knight comes here, oh, that just loses. This knight loses its defender. The queen is being hit, so that doesn't quite work. Okay. What do we want to do? There's also stuff like this. There's also this. There's just so many possibilities now. We're doing so well. I think I like this idea. So if I go here and the knight goes... Well, if the knight moves anywhere, I can just take. So it's not like it's going to be devastating. All right, so I'm going to go here. It's kind of a weird looking move, but it's involved with this plan of going back to b8 and just saying I'm committing to a king attack. All of my pieces are pointing there. Everything tells me I should be going there. Let's go to the king side. And we look, my opponent's pieces are just all not by the king. And the pawn structure's been weakened. Like, everything is saying to me, there is an attack here. Now, I can't find it yet. That's the frustrating part. But everything is screaming at me, yeah, man, there's an attack here. Yeah, I thought the knight was going to go there, but we have a plan for that. I'm going to bring here, here, here. It's a bit of a slow plan. Is there anything better that we could do? I don't think so. I could go here, but I don't think I want to do that. Although it would let me potentially check here. I think I like this other idea, though, of going like that. I don't know, there's just something about that that I find intriguing. And if they move the knight, I can always come in here and push the queen away. My opponent still has mostly bad-looking pieces. They have this knight that's reasonable. But the rest of their pieces are not good. This knight can't go in here. It's okay. It controls some decent squares, but it's not a nice knight. my pieces look pretty reasonable. This is such a slow, crazy play. This doesn't work at all. I'm going to look so ridiculous. Like, why did you move your bishop all these times just to put it on b8? I feel like this is one of those, like, either I've gotten pretty good at chess out of nowhere, or, wow, you have a long way to go, man. I just feel like it's kind of a defining moment of, like, I'm making this big operation that's either really cool and good or ridiculous. And it's taking me a lot of time to do it, too. I'm pretty low on time compared to my opponent. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll come away from this being like, wow, that was really cool what you did there. It really worked. Just doesn't always work like that. All right, I want to take that arrow off because I don't want it to influence me to the point where it's like, I just move there. Don't even think about the position. Because obviously what my opponent does here will matter a lot. Having said that, my opponent doesn't have that many great moves. My guess is they're going to go rook d1, which is just moving another defender away from the king. I think maybe a better move would be to try to involve the bishop. The bishop seems to be the worst piece, and they have an avenue to make it better. And in fact, if they get here, it's kind of annoying. And instead, they weaken their king more. Just more. Wow. Okay. It's a bold decision. Because it seems like I can just come back and I don't know. Maybe then I have stuff like this. Now this diagonal is looking ridiculously good. I could even go boom, boom. That wins the game. I mean, obviously they can defend that. Okay. I think I just move the knight back. And if they come up here, that's actually probably a quite good move. I didn't think about this. I think this is a good idea. It weakens everything, but by going here, suddenly their bishop is not as bad. They can take back this way. They've got some action now, whereas before they were basically done. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. I might have some cleverness here, though. Because we have this check at any point. It's like if they go here, here, we could respond with check and pick up the bishop. I'm not sure that we get anything from that. I'm going to take here. I assume this has to be right. But their pieces are better now. I feel like the lead that I had that was fairly overwhelming is now slipping away a bit. Like, I don't feel like I can take on this really long operation and assume it will be successful. I don't think that's true anymore. Though, long term, they do have this pawn that looks quite weak. Like, if all the pieces were traded, this isolated pawn looks weak. Sometimes an isolated pawn is strong, but this is not, like, doing anything. It's not involved in any sort of attack. So maybe with that being said, the idea of here, check, giving away the piece, taking the bishop. If they don't take, I end up with this pawn, so they almost have to take. My rook ends up here. My other rook can come in. That could be really strong, but they didn't go that way. Instead, they went with the rook, which looks a little dangerous because it's the only thing backing up the rook is that knight. So does that mean I can go something like here, threatening to take the knight? So it feels like it means the rook has to move, and then I can just take the knight and win this pawn, or I can do any number of things. I think that was a mistake. See if I'm right. What if they go here, and I take, and they take, and they're hitting my queen, but I would just take them back. Like, their position just looks so vulnerable. I'm kind of shocked I can't find anything, like, almost knockout even at this point. Okay, there's this idea. Hitting the rook, hitting the pawn. Let's say they defend their position by coming back. I can come up here and hit this rook again. It can't defend that pawn. It would have to move over this way. Then what? Do I have something from there or not? I don't know. I think I want to go this way. Put the pressure on here first. And then I may do that. Then the next move might be knight here. Oh, the bishop can't go here anymore. But I'm curious how they're going to handle this. Like, this guy's falling if they don't move. If they go back, say to here, I can take on there. It's check. The bishop falls. Like, I guess the bishop doesn't fall if they come back to f2. But they're still down a pawn. Their king is very vulnerable. I don't know. Things look pretty good for me. I'm a bit regretful of not going this way. I think it would have been interesting. Bishop. I guess it's just... my guess is there's something good there. And I just didn't see it in this particular moment. I wonder if even right here, I should have just taken this pawn. And then king takes. No, it doesn't work. This is being defended twice. Okay. So that was close too. That's another thing to keep in mind. If we end up taking that knight, maybe we just take the pawn on g2 instead of winning the d4 pawn. The d4 pawn will always be sitting there waiting for us. I kind of won't be... No, never mind. I was going to say I won't be stunned if they do this exchange stack because things aren't great. But once I take, they're still left in a spot where... Oh, I guess they could go here and defend this a second time. So I won't be stunned if they do that. My pawns, at least, will be worse. Right now, it just looks like I'm going to have a very strong position for a long time. That would at least shake things up. I think it would be bad overall. But it might be a thought that they're thinking of, like, I gotta do something. Like, this game is just spiraling. I guess another idea they have is doubling here. But I think then we just, you know, take, check, win the bishop, and then we should be fine. Another idea? Okay, this might be a good idea. Taking out a page of the Sicilian. What if they took here? And I took back. Yeah. That looks not great, but it looks reasonable. Because like if I take, then maybe they go here, maybe they go here. They've got some stuff. But I think I just take and it should probably be fine. I still have this idea. Yeah, wait, can I do this first? No. Okay, yeah, I think I can still take here. And then if the knight moves, this falls. If they don't do anything, I take. Like, they're still in bad shape. Maybe if they come back here with the knight, they could be okay. That seems potentially reasonable. Okay. And then how do I respond? It still feels like I have the advantage, but how do I put it together? This knight is kind of... This constellation is covering all these squares I would love to put my queen on. And I now have, you know, pretty big weakness on my king side. Okay, what if I take here? No, there's nothing. Okay, maybe I go here, here, and use this open file. Maybe that's the approach. And get my rooks involved that way. Because right now, there the piece is not really involved. I'm not seeing a good way to bring him in. I'm a little nervous about this, and then, like, getting on this pawn that way. That could be kind of troubling for me. So maybe that doesn't work that great. Maybe a better approach is like a tiny bit slower. Tough. Tough decisions. Here. Oh, that actually looks quite strong. This is really making them have to make a pretty important decision. If they come here, then I'm got the same situations before. If they come here, then I think I can go here. No, I can't go there. But now everything is very weak. Like, I might even just ignore it and go here because I've got the mate. And I can also go here, attacking this guy a second time. So I think that's the right idea. I won't be shocked if they go like rook f1 to try to counterattack in some way. That knight was kind of holding everything together. The queen is now hitting h7. I didn't really give that enough credibility and thought. They can't really hit that a second time. I feel like I'm okay. I feel like my opponent has a little counterplay here. A little bit. A smidge of counterplay. And knight f4 looks like a very intriguing option for them that I don't think works. Okay, yeah, so they went for this way. They went for the full counterplay, which is probably right. I'm thinking about takes. Does this get mate in the end? Here. Too many arrows. I have to actually just think. Take with the bishop, forcing the rook to move. Queen takes the pawn. They can't stop the check. Then the king goes to f2. I go the queen f1 there. I don't know if I get there. Also, if I go here and they take here, then what? Am I getting mated? It doesn't look like it. And I also have this idea. Maybe. All right, I'm going to try that. What about if the knight? If the knight goes... No, I don't think so. I think we're going to go this way. I guess maybe they could go here, though, and chase away my knight. Maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe that loses the... No, I think I can go here with the queen still. Oy, it's very interesting. Okay, what about... Can they go here? Then the bishop falls. So, it's complicated. I simplified it way too much to just to the point of, like, they have to move the rook, and they'll probably take on f6. I think that was too much simplification. I think I did not look at enough of their options. I mean, I'm down to 3 minutes, so maybe that was a wise time situation decision, but I'm not sure. Also, knight f4 looks quite good to me. I was thinking I'd be able to take, but I cannot. What will I do there? Oh, I just take the rook. Yeah, okay. So that's a big part of why I was thinking they had to take, because almost no matter what they do, the rook falls. So the question would just be, can they move the rook to f4? It does not look like it. The queen would take. Can they move the queen maybe to e4? That's kind of interesting. I think at that point, I would still take the pawn. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to be in okay shape. So it looks like our opponent has left this game, and I can claim victory in 70 seconds. My guess is they haven't left. My guess is that they are still around, and they will make a move. Because I don't think they're so dead. It has been a frustrating game for them, though. They have been losing for the whole game. The game is only 24 moves in, if you can believe it. It feels like it's been going on an eternity. And it is hard when you get down and you're having a hard position. You're playing the whole game in a hard position. It's very challenging. But my opponent played it. I don't remember how it happened exactly, but having no pieces around the king and having all of my pieces pointed at the king, that is a very hard position to defend. Something is likely to break free. Okay, so it looks like my opponent is back. That's good. I kind of want to see if I can make this happen. I mean, I may lose this game. I feel like this is very much a game that could go either way. I may be up in exchange, and I might have a good attack, but my opponent does have counterplay. So we'll see what's happening here. It has been a while since they've moved. So I feel like I've looked at most everything, but there might be a surprise up in this position that I'm missing. Maybe there is something out there. Yeah, no. Okay. I looked at for a second. Bishop takes f7. If my king were to take, then the queen comes in, checks, grabs the knight. But I can, of course, take with the rook, and then everything is fine. In fact, that would be kind of great. Then I get to swing the rook over to g7, even more pressure. And my opponent has left again. So it looks like there's a good chance my opponent is doing one of these. I'm not playing another move, but for some reason I've become so enraged by this game that I also will not let it end in a regular timeout. I'm going to make you think I've left and then come back. Like, I mean, it's some people struggle with losses too great to different amounts, right? I struggle with losing, but I don't do this. It's more of an inner rage and an inner, usually not rage, more like shame. An inner shame was the feeling I feel when I lose like this. But my opponent is apparently really struggling. So we're gonna back up. We're gonna take a look at how this unfolded just a bit. But if we look at, say, here, they have no pieces around the king. This bishop is terrible. They boxed it in themselves, by the way. They didn't have to do this. This bishop is bad. This knight really only has one place to go, so I took that away. This knight is probably their claim to fame. But they just don't have anything. And it's weird. They're white and did this to themselves. Okay, I can claim victory. I think we're just going to claim this victory. I think our opponent has had enough. Okay. So, 24 move win. Let's take a look. Let's see where things went off the rails for my opponent. So this is all very normal. This move is weird. It's not unplayable. It's not that no one plays it. I don't understand it. To me, like, there's no reason not to choose one of these squares for your bishop first and then make that move. So I don't play it myself. I don't know many people that do play it. It's not like it's lost. It's fine. We continue on with the game. I can choose to take here or not. It's probably a little premature. I don't know. The engine says it's the best move. It seems good to me. And now I'm just making good moves. My opponent is playing fine. Here the engine suggests a6, b5 would be better. That could be. I decided to go the faster route where I can just immediately get it out, and I'm still doing well. But, you know, it's even. And, like, if we look at the position here, this knight's fine. This bishop's struggling. But it's a pretty close game. It should be fine. This knight's fine. No one's winning. I play c5, which, you know, that's fine. And then, right already, the engine hates this move. And the engine says that white is losing by 1.2 now, which is a huge amount in this spot. I'm not quite sure I understand why it's so bad. Oh, that's why. I made a big oversight. I could have just taken and completely ruined their structure. I don't know how I didn't even... that didn't even enter my thought process, which is very strange. So instead, we continue with this even game. And not surprisingly, this was the move to make to keep equality. Instead, they say, you take your decent knight, I will make my knight much worse. So this is one of the things with exchanges. Exchanges are really hard. When do you make an exchange? And I understand them not wanting to exchange here because their knight is in a pretty decent spot. But then do something about it. I don't know that they can here. They would have to end up with this isolated pawn. But I think this is much better than retreating. But they retreated. And I got to just continue developing and taking away that square from the knight. This, again, is a kind of a weird move. Like, is it because you're so worried I'm going here to try to get the 2 bishops? It's very slow. I develop another piece. Is this developing a piece? Maybe if they can get to here, but again, it's quite slow. And this is where I kind of determined, like, well, I mean, we got a lot of stuff pointing over here. We might as well start giving them some things to think about. And so this is definitely a move that they have to think about. It's not the best in the position. The engine says we can develop our rooks. We can put our bishop on a better square. I go here. Now they've weakened their position a bit. No big deal. The engine says it's still pretty equal. I feel pretty good here. But then again, I feel like you need to put a rook here. They put a rook here, which is fine. And now the engine hates this move and says it's equal. So it does not like my idea. And I get it. It was a little too slow. This puts more pressure on the position. I get why that's better. I have to move my piece back. And then this is a real iffy move, right? It's not like it loses, but it's going in the wrong direction. You still have nothing around your king. You're moving stuff around your king for no reason. This was the best move, which seemed like it to me. But yeah, this seemed like the obvious move. What was my plan? My plan was to... Oh, my plan was potentially to do this. And it's fine. I think I have a pretty decent position. The engine's like, not really. I mean, okay, let's play this out. It's tied. Okay, actually, no, that is pretty good for me. The engine says here they should not take. Oh, right, they can just go here. Oh, now it's completely even. Yeah, so the engine basically says this is a no-go. That was my plan. But then taking with a rook was like, what? I have so many things I could do. I could do this idea. And then what are you going to do? If you go back to here, I go here. Whoa, wait. The engine says there was something enormous here. 5. -5. What am I missing? It's probably a take here, actually. Yeah. Because the rook, then after the rook takes... maybe queen first. Yeah, queen first, threatening mate, and threatening mate, and things are going bad. Okay, I went here, which is a fine move. They took, which is not the computer's favorite move, but it seemed reasonable to me. I mean, they're in big trouble. The computer's like, their best move was here. And it's like, okay, I don't think that's exactly fixing many of the problems. But yeah, so they decided to go with the exchange. Seems very reasonable, and then the game just continues to spiral from here. This was the best move. I'm very proud of myself there as the only move of getting the giant lead. Oh yeah, and then they don't even come back because they're like, well, I'm lost now. Engine says it would look something like, wow, that rook f4 is the best move. Okay, yeah, rook f4, right, hitting that. That's what I thought. And then I was going to go here, and then really the only way to stop the madness is to take and give up. Actually, do they have to give up the... It's not just an exchange if I take. So takes, and then how do I get more material? Maybe, I guess I pick up... I don't know what I pick up here. The best... Oh, wow, okay. So the best move here is to now do this idea. And now the king's in big trouble. That's kind of hard, but... Yeah. So, bottom line, this was a weird game where my opponent didn't make that many bad moves. Like, the engine's like, they're fine. They're not the best. But from a human perspective, it's just like all of their pieces are kind of bad, and all my pieces are better, and I'm spending the whole game making my pieces better. And even though it's technically equal, it doesn't feel equal. Like, it feels like, sure, maybe the engine could keep this going, but then one mistake, like taking here instead of with the knight, like everything is suddenly lost because the position was so tenuous to start with. So my big takeaways are in the opening, you probably shouldn't make all your pieces worse and leave your opponents with good pieces. So remember when they could have traded the knight here. B, having all of your pieces evacuated from the king side when all of or many of your opponent's pieces are pointing at it. It's at a minimum dangerous, right? Like, maybe you're going to get away with it. Maybe the position works, but it's very dangerous. And then C, when your opponent does that, sort of recognizing that maybe it's not the time to play totally normal. Normal as in like how you would play this position if it was the closed position you were expecting, but to kind of shift gears and go a little bit more in attack mode. I didn't do an all-out caveman attack. I didn't go clubbing, grabbing my club and go clubbing. But still, I really tried to put a lot of pressure and have them make weaknesses. So that's that one. That was a really fun one for me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time on the road to 2200.